I am with the Edmonton Mennonite Centre for Newcomers, or EMCN, because it's a lot fewer syllables. And I'll just give you a heads up that on May 6th of this year, we will be changing our name to the Newcomers Centre. Small changes have already started to happen, like our website name is already changed to Newcomers Centre. Even if you type in the old one, it will still redirect you. You don't have to worry about that. But big, sexy announcement coming May 6th. Stay tuned. Let me see if I can get this right. So you guys can ask questions at any point. If you're virtual, I don't know how that works. If you have questions.
Send it to us. It is on the chat.
Okay, apparently I'll get tuned in, so that's good. But please ask at any point. I'm just going to give an overview of the Edmonton Mennonite Centre for Newcomers, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about each of our departments and then different ways to get involved with us. One of the quick key points to mention is that the Edmonton Mennonite Centre for Newcomers is a settlement agency. So we serve the metropolitan Edmonton area, primarily Edmonton, but we will work with the metropolitan area. And we support landed immigrants and newcomers in particular. We don't provide supports in getting people to here, but we can provide some information sessions just so you understand the scope of who we are. There are settlement agencies all across Alberta, and I'll get into what a settlement agency is if you don't know. We are just one of many, and we do work with other settlement agencies, and we could not do the work that we do without our incredible volunteers, obviously our staff, and then other community agencies here in Edmonton. So let's bump along a little bit. Our brief history. And again, we've been around for 43 years. There's a lot of stories, so these are just the crib notes. We are a government-funded, registered Canadian charity in good standing. Although we're government-funded, we are not a government agency. So we are a registered charity. Our roots did start with the Mennonite churches here in the Edmonton area, and it's again, a very long history. I could have a whole nother session just on how we've evolved over the years, but we ended up growing so big that the majority of our funding does actually come from different levels of government now. And so that is part of the reason why our name is changing, is some newcomers are not coming to us because they believe that we provide faith-based services, which conflicts with some of their value systems and beliefs. So that is one of the reasons why the name is changing. But the Mennonite Church was definitely part of our history, and they're still involved with our board, and we will always have a relationship with them and are grateful for them. We were born right from inception to walk with newcomers in their integration and settlement process. It's really, again, about supporting newcomers to thrive in many, many different ways, and we'll get into that capture in a minute. So as I said, everything we do is considered settlement, but like every other organization, we kind of have to split the work up into different departments to get it done. So you might hear about one department more than another department, but everything we do is considered settlement. And our primary departmental areas to get the work done is settlement services, language services, employment services, and then community programs and therapeutic services. We currently have about 230 staff who are mostly immigrants themselves, and I think it's about 90 staff we've hired just in the past year alone. It's huge growth, and I'll get into why in a minute. But because, that got cut off. Anyway, most of our staff, because they have gone through the immigration process themselves, they can not only relate better to those that they're serving, we can offer a lot of free supports in many different languages because of that. So we help in many different ways, and there's that elevated level of empathy for helping those going through life's challenges in creating a life for themselves here in Edmonton and finding a place to belong. In case you didn't catch it before, May 6th, we're changing our name. I just thought I'd throw that in there again for you. Yes, we know there's a typo in the photo. It's not one of our photos. We do work with up to about 17,000 individuals per year, and that doesn't include the individuals we already had carrying over from multiple years before that. It's ever changing. We'd like to feel like we're popular, I guess, but we definitely are all needed in the jobs that we do. We focus on our work out of 3 main locations here in the city, and I'll cover those in just a sec, to provide services to a broader audience, especially if transportation is an issue. And we do work on focusing holistic supports in what we do. So consider it like a delicious trifle where many different layers make the whole piece. So while you might be working with employment services, we're also asking you very gently probing questions to ensure that your other needs on the settlement side are met, and community programs helping you find a place where you belong are also addressed for your whole family, not just for the individual that comes to us. We're unique in several different ways. I'm just going to cover a few highlights. Like I said, we're one of many settlement agencies. There is incredible work being done on the front lines every single day by all of them. These are just some of the ways that we're a little more unique in that we have pioneered a LGBTQ plus Rainbow Refuge program that is known locally, provincially, nationally, and internationally, even by United Nations, where staff are invited to attend UN events and speak. We're asked for our best practices from other countries. One of our staff members is also on the Edmonton Police Service SOGI Advisory Council. There's multiple layers of engagement with this programming and what it offers, and I can share more about that afterwards if you're interested. But we've also partnered with the federal government on a few different programs. One is our Enhanced Settlement Workers in Schools, or ESWIS program. And so we took the previous Settlement Workers in Schools program. It got elevated a little bit more, work, so it's a more proactive, more far-reaching support for not just the youth, but also, again, for the family members. It requires more community engagement in that way, and this model is now being rolled out across Canada. Same with the Culinary Skills Training Program. It's the first of its kind in Canada. It's not just for newcomers. Canadian citizens can also participate. And all that we offer for programs are free. And the Culinary Arts Training Program, and one of our other training programs right now, not only is it free to take it, but then you get paid while you're taking it. The Culinary Skills Training Program, however, has about a 250-person wait list at the moment. So very, very popular and definitely increasing in profile. Again, these are just some highlights. A variety of our demographics. We cover a lot of different categories, LGBTQ+. We seniors, whether you're women or BIPOC girls, whether you're, and I know the men and boys often feel left out, but we have programming just for you too. We also offer children's programmings. We hit a number of demographics because we all have needs in different ways. We all connect to people in different ways, and sometimes it's nice to feel like you're not alone. Again, that sense of belonging really helps with you thriving that much sooner in your life. We do a lot to reduce barriers. I've only highlighted a couple of things here, but one of those ways is when you come to see us and you're in your appointment, what we do is we offer free drop-in childcare. So you can just focus on what you need and your children are well taken care of. Services that we offer, it's a beautiful 80s montage. If you need in-person, if you need over the phone, if you need email, if depending on the program, we might meet you at a coffee shop or at your home or virtually. depends on where you're at. We meet you where you're at and do the best we can to help you move forward from there. This is a quick overview of what we currently have for programming. A lot of people don't realize how much we offer. Everything is on our website for current programming that we provide each quarter. It's refreshed at the beginning of every quarter. Because due to funding, some of our programming will drop off, new stuff will pop up. We're like that. We like to keep it, fresh. But just as an overview, settlement, and I'll talk more about what settlement is in just a bit, but settlement is way more than you just come in and we do an initial assessment on you and, oh, you need this and this. If you want support with getting your citizenship here in Canada, if you want to get government issued ID, if you want to get your kids in school, if you're looking for income supports, there's a whole lot that goes in here and a lot of information sessions to help. As far as the language side of things goes, our language instruction for newcomers to Canada, we offer various levels. Again, that is also free, but the wait times there can take 6 to 9 months-ish, just because it takes so long for us to go through the programming, and the needs are ever increasing as we're getting more and more newcomers coming to Edmonton. Employment side, that varies, and we have everything from newcomers essential skills training, or our NEST program. If it's true basic, you don't really know what you want and you just need to learn basic communication skills, how to work email, right up to if you are, again, you want to get into the trades, culinary skills training program will get you into the hospitality industry much faster. But we also have our Skill Up program, so you can get into an Alberta trade or into the construction industry after taking this course, because we also support you with work placements, and then we provide ongoing support after that. So it's not like you got a job, we celebrate, and then we walk away. We continue to provide you, as well as the employer, ongoing supports. And then we also help with some of the cultural advantage and competencies with making sure that not all employers understand what inclusivity and diversity and cultural acceptance really means and how to embrace that. So how do employers better understand the employees, and how do the employees better understand Canadian workplace culture as well as their rights, and to make it a more effective working relationship for everybody. I keep looking at you the most because you're the easiest one to see because of the lights, so sorry about that. Community engagement, again, a lot of different ways to belong, and I'll go into a little bit more in some of these in a minute, as well as community partnerships. Has anybody here heard of the C5? Woohoo! I got 2 in a room. That's a lot. So the C5 Northeast Hub is a collaborative partnership that started in 2015, and 5 agencies here in Edmonton are still, the 5 founding agencies are still the same agencies involved. And so Bent Arrow Traditional Healing Society, Terra Centre, Norwood Child and Family Services, obviously us, and I always, Boyle Street Community Services, I always have to make sure I get that right. We support about 30,000 people a year just through C5, and it's more proactive frontline engagement on that side of things. How to better keep the families together and navigate some of the systems to get them up to that next stage, to be a little more independent and healthier, improve some of their skill sets. And that is focused in the northeast part of Edmonton, and the city of Edmonton is a huge partner with us on that as well. And we've been asked by other groups, because this model is so effective, that could it not also be located in other parts of the city. We also, through the C5, support food security, especially in the northeast part of town. We have relationships with the food bank and other City of Edmonton agencies as well. But it's not just regular food that's there. We also provide some cultural foods, access to some cultural foods through there as well. And then there's a refugee donation center that is also connected to the C5 group, and that is by appointment only. It's not for the general public to come in and thrift shop, at least not at this point. It is targeted more for newcomers to go in and work with a settlement practitioner to make sure the family's needs are being met, in addition to getting some basic goods for the home. So, plates, dishes, cookware, that kind of stuff, where they get to shop and, have just a little bit of time to just feel kind of normal and get some, new or gently used goods. For the most part, most of it's new that's been donated there. And the RISE Awards. Has anybody heard of our RISE Awards? Okay, another 2, woohoo! So the Coles notes there is that started in 2003, and it actually, the city, EMCN back then, started the RISE Awards after the 9/11 attacks that happened in New York, and Washington. But what happened here in the city is we wanted to make sure more citizens here in particular, because this is our service area, understood the benefits that newcomers bring, how life is better because of what immigrants have given to the city of Edmonton in particular. That was the genesis for the RISE Awards. And through that, we're celebrating our 19th annual event this year. And recipients of these awards don't even have to have been a former client of ours. So even Edmonton's mayor is a former Lifetime Award recipient through this program. So it's one of the best community connectors for events and affordable for community members to attend. We had over 600 people attend last year's event, and it's all levels of government that show up. It's people from the corporate world, it's entrepreneurs, it's community members, it's ethno-cultural groups, and everybody's just happy, and you see just tons of hugging all night long. I'm not a big hugger, but most people are quite happy with all of that and all the photo op spots. But it's celebrating immigrant success. So our locations, our C5 location is roughly 140th Ave and Victoria Trail, and that's where the Northeast Hub is. And then the first red marker that you see is our Gupta Newcomer Resource Center, formerly called our Language Services Center. That's 82nd Street and 117th Ave. And that is predominantly just language services focused support there. The second red marker is our downtown location, otherwise known as Central. That's where some of us super duper administrative staff hang out, as well as most of settlement is at our central location. And then there's a good blend of most of employment works out of Central as well. And then we have community programs that will work out of there. It's a little bit of everybody at that location. And then our Welcome Center for Immigrants is down in Mill Woods at the Millbourne Market Mall. And that's just a smaller shop, and we do a little bit of everything at that one as well. So that's roughly where we're at. So what are settlement services? It's really anything that newcomers need to settle. I realize that's oversimplified, but how best to adjust to your way of life. Now, as I mentioned before, if you need government-issued ID, if you need child services like child care, if you need to get your kids into school, if you are working on your status, whether you're trying to get your refugee claimant, or you're trying to get permanent residency, or you're trying to become a citizen, there's a whole degree of supports that we can provide. We will also provide direction on navigating, because we could all use that, with Alberta's education system, Alberta's legal system, Alberta's health system. They are ever-changing and exciting sectors for sure, but imagine being a newcomer and not having any idea whatsoever. So if you have children with disabilities, depending on where you come from, you may not realize that there are actually additional supports for you or family members with disabilities as well. So we provide a lot of that direction on where to go, income supports, that sort of thing. But when you come to us, it's not just about what do you need, it's also a bit of an asset assessment. What do you have that you can contribute? So we can start connecting you with what you need in the community to feel like you belong. Because we all have ways that we can contribute. Not all of us have been buffered up to realize what those are, or we're not always self-aware because we haven't been given an environment where we can thrive. So that's what we do, is we work with all individuals to make sure that they know that they have assets that they can share here as well. We will work with referrals, whether it's interdepartmental or if we can't do it, and we admit that we're not perfect at everything, we will refer to some of the other experts at other agencies here in the city that can provide better support, or to the City of Edmonton or the province or wherever you need to go. Information and orientation. So what can I expect for Canadian culture? What's it like in the Canadian workplace? What are worker rights? There's a lot that we offer. And the mode of delivery, like I said, case-by-case basis depends on what your needs are. Again, an overview of some settlement programs currently running. The federal government, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, announced a 2023 to 2025 plan. Has anybody here heard of that plan? Some of you? Excellent. More hands go up, I like it. So from 2000 to about 2021, just before we're getting into 2022, it was roughly about just a little over 200,000 to 250,000 immigrants a year across Canada that were coming in. And then IRCC's plan was to bring in close to 500,000 skilled immigrants across Canada over the next 3 years. So we're not only seeing an influx of skilled immigrants coming in, but the first point where a lot of these immigrants land, and I'm surprised that Vancouver, Calgary, and Toronto are considered a little sexier to land in than Edmonton, but okay. The immigrants might go there first, go through customs first, and then that's where the funding goes. But if you're a newcomer to Canada, it's pretty expensive to find housing in those locations. It's a lot harder to find employment, and so there's a secondary migration that happens where Edmonton is seeing a huger, that's not a right word, nor is that, but we're seeing a big increase in the number of immigrants coming to Edmonton, specifically because there is at least the perception that we have more affordable, safer housing here, that we have better community supports for newcomers, and easier access to employment. So although that's across Canada, Edmonton's numbers are going up pretty high, which is why we've hired about 90 people in the last year to help us. And, we're at capacity like the rest of you, but thankfully we are blessed to do good frontline work, so it all works out. Things that we're seeing, again, income supports, people are coming to us for that. Basic needs, again, they have nothing for their homes, some of them, or clothing. I know you'll be surprised that winters here are cold and not everyone comes prepared. So making sure everybody has what they need to get through winters. Finding safe, affordable housing, addressing precarious status. So if you're seeking asylum here, you don't necessarily, or even if you're a refugee claimant, you don't necessarily get access or are eligible for as much as a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen. So navigating those waters sometimes gets a little harder, and you can be a little more vulnerable, because how do you pay for things, right? How do you maintain housing if you have no way to make income? So I think the colleagues coming up next will get more into that. So renewing your permanent residency, applying for Canadian citizenship, again, orientations to Canada, accessing English, understanding our system, lack of culturally responsive supports is also an area. Isolation is a big one. A lot of our LGBTQ plus newcomers in particular often come alone. And the majority of people that come to us through word of mouth, because you don't know who's out there or what to look up or if you're going to be scammed. And then you throw in the English language barrier that is out there for a lot of them on top of that, and it's hard. How do you even know what to look up or where to go or how much it's going to cost you? So isolation is a tough one. Same with domestic violence, some complex issues that you come with that you're trying to deal with. I've already mentioned secondary migration and trauma-informed care. Someone who's been through a lot does not want to have to retell their story 17 different times to 17 different staff at different agencies or even interdepartmental referrals. So we have a new database to reduce the number of times a client or a newcomer needs to actually share their story to reduce how many times we're triggering them. And the same database is used by a number of other Edmonton area agencies. So inter-agency referrals are going to start becoming easier and reducing, improving trauma-informed care for those we serve as well. Language services, again, some quick highlights for our team that provide both in-person and virtual and hybrid language classes. And they'll learn about a lot of different things in life. They'll bring in guest speakers as well while they're learning English at the different levels. And for example, they'll bring in an Edmonton police member to talk about driving in winter here, as well as just general driving here. And then I kind of wondered why that wasn't offered to everybody as a reminder. But we do bring in lots of guest speakers from other agencies and other service programs to provide some of that exposure. And with Edmonton Police Service in particular, when they come in uniform, that's a fear factor for a lot of newcomers, depending on where you come from. So this starts to help with the more calm approach, so it's not confrontational when they first meet a police officer, right? Parenting and literacy is where if you're a newcomer with someone under the age of 5, you can learn English with your wee one, or you can have childcare and learn English on your own. That's that program. I covered those. Employment services and training programs. That's the quick overview. So I'll just get a little bit into this. So our Connecting Ukrainians to Employment, or Q program, is a 2-year program, and funding for that ends in September of this year. So it's been going absolutely well. Our culinary skills training program, I mentioned that one a little bit already. In motion and momentum, you really have no idea what you want to do. That's what that one's for, to help you kind of figure out what you want in life. True base level, do you want to work? Do you have other life goals? It kind of provides a little bit of perspective, and then you can get into maybe a newcomer essential skills training program after that. You could elevate to job ready, which is really focused on, the job search and recruitment techniques used in Canada, as well as refreshing your resume based on the type of work you're looking for, mock interview skills, worker rights. They cover a lot of stuff in the job ready training. And then we have the Skill Up program, just started in the middle of January, so that one's still super fresh. And that's the one that is focused on getting newcomers into Alberta trades and the construction industry. And we do work placements for both the culinary skills training program and for the Skill Up program. So you don't even have to find a job we help take care of that for you. And then we provide ongoing supports for quite a while afterwards. Community programs and therapeutic services. We have everything from Empower Her is career and entrepreneurship for women. So if you want to elevate your career, if you want to start a business or expand a business, that's where the Empower Her program is. We also have the Immigrant Women's Integration Network, or IWIN, and that one, hi. Sorry. Why? It's nice to have you here. IWIN is focused on really building a sense. It's a 6-week certificate program. Again, everything is free, but it's really on helping women learn together about what they want in life. If they do want a career, then we help them in a very focused way. If they want to just build better community connections with other immigrant women or other community groups in the city, then we help them do that. So those are beautiful dovetail programs that work together. You can take one, go into the other. Global Garden clearly just runs during the nicer, shorter growing season that we have here. A lot of seniors will get involved with that program. And it's a good way to reduce isolation and cross-cultural and intergenerational engagement with Global Garden, and they actually get to produce stuff and take it home. So, I mean, there is reward there. Global Girls, as I was mentioning, that's for BIPOC girls, in particular, Black, Indigenous, people of color, age 15 to 21 roughly, to try and experience different things here in the city to see what they like, what makes them happy, help them figure out a little bit more of what they want for their own futures, if they're interested in careers. But really, they just get more peer support, sense of belonging, and they get to try new things in the city together. New Horizons for Seniors, pretty self-explanatory. It's targeted at seniors, but we will work on bringing in some of our youth group programming to work with the seniors. So, for example, they'll take a cooking class together, so they're making cultural foods. So the kids are learning right along with the seniors. Everybody's learning English. Everyone's getting along and learning how to cook together. And we do a lot of crossover with our programming to help expose people to a better sense of community instead of just a specific demographic. Putting down roots is ethnocultural group capacity building. It's about how to empower communities. So if you have a group that wants to get going, but how do you formalize yourselves? How do you get funding? All that kind of stuff. We have staff that will help your group work through all of that so you can become an officially recognized group here in the city, ethnocultural group here in the city. I've already mentioned the Recognizing Immigrant Success in Edmonton, or RISE Awards, October 26th this year, just saying. We have our Safe Families program. That's about eliminating domestic violence in particular through methods that improve communication skills, healthier relationships, helping the participants understand just how many resources are available to them in the community, different ways of dealing with life's challenges, not just as an individual, but as a family. And we, there's some very dedicated supports to that. The Support for Kids and Youth, or Sky Club, meets on Saturdays. We've had some kids go through right from grades 1 to 12, and then off to university they go. And again, it's always nice to be around people you have some things in common with, but there's still plenty of differences. We've had some of our volunteers who have been with us more than 10 years, and that's a huge commitment. If you're thinking it's every Saturday during the school year, that's a lot. And in addition to your educational supports that we provide in, again, many different languages in all 12 grades, we will also do field trips depending on where funding is at. So again, the kids get to experience Edmonton in different ways and what's going on here that they may not be able to experience on their own. Volunteer services. Most of our volunteer opportunities are targeted to newcomers to get the Canadian experience specifically, which will help them on the employment side. We do occasionally have some opportunities for the general public to support us, but most of what we have available is for supporting newcomers to get the Canadian experience. Again, therapeutic and counseling services. What's really nice about this team, incredibly experienced staff, but we offer unlimited sessions. We'll offer supports in the language that you choose so you can just express yourself without having to try to translate at the same time. Whether you're an individual, a couple, whether you're a family, whether you're youth or LGBTQ+, we have people, our team members, I should say, have very focused areas, and everything is exceptional trauma-informed care. We will come to you, you can come to us. If you need support getting to us, we can provide transportation and supports as well. And like I said, free. Anybody can refer to us. Yes?
Sorry, I know there's probably questions, but that's amazing. So is there a waiting list?
There is a waiting list. I don't know all the specs on that. I would just recommend call and make the recommendation as quickly as possible. And right on our website, you can go through and find it there. But on our homepage, on the website, it says Programs and Services Guide. It is an overview of every single one of our programs. So quick overview, and then contact information for everything. It's short and sweet, and that gets updated every quarter. That's the best way to figure out who you need as quickly as possible for a reference. That's a great, just keep it at your desk or keep the web tab open, I guess, would be the better one. We're all trying to reduce paper. So yeah, that's pretty much the Coles notes. So I'll cover some ways to get involved with us, and if you have any specific program questions, I can answer some. I don't run a program. I generally refer other people, so that's what I may do for you here. I could make something up, but I'd rather you got accurate information. So if you have questions, if I don't know, I will find out for you and get back to you. So a few options to get involved with us. You can be extremely joyful, spread the glitter, we don't care. But you could serve on our board, and we are recruiting right now. They are volunteer positions, and they are exceptional volunteers. You could sponsor or attend our RISE Awards. You also get some great community connections out of that. Recruit newcomer talent. A lot of organizations don't always think to necessarily or specifically hire newcomers, and we can work with employers on how to do that, how to increase your diversity as well as your inclusivity and improve your cultural advantage. We will work with you on that as well. Give us a dingle. You could advance intercultural competency or your cultural advantage at your organization. We focus more on providing that support with our employment partners in particular, but we could potentially have room to help you out if you're interested as well, if you're not actually a partner, but you might become one. I know you'll be surprised to hear this, but you can give us unrestricted financial support. We will accept it, and very gratefully. Or you can fund a specific program that aligns with either yours or your organization's goals. Up to you. It's your money. We'd be delighted to take it in the way that works best for you. You could leave us a legacy gift. So if it's about supporting newcomers to thrive as well as our community, legacy gifts are always a beautiful way to go. Or it could be as simple as just support human services work, interagency referrals, or just community referrals is helping us. The more we get the word out, the more we talk with each other as agencies here in the city, the better off we all are, and we reduce a lot of redundancies, and we're not always vying for the same funding or for the same resources when we work smarter together. So I think that's pretty much it, unless You want me to go into more detail?